Rick, you had some duty you had to take care of. Public comment. Anyone who would like to make a public comment at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to the voluntary roll call. Is there anyone who wants to identify themselves on the phone?
Yes, John Joyce with the Rosamond News. Hi, Byron.
Good evening, John. How's everything in your world?
Busy, I'm happy to say.
We're at a conference in Palm Springs, and it's hot.
Well, you should get in the pool.
That's probably good advice. There's schools everywhere here. Yeah. All right, consent calendar. Before we approve the consent calendar, there's a change on the approval of the checks and vouchers. The date needed to be changed from 7/19/2022 to 8/15/2022.
It needed to be changed to those dates.
Yeah, to those dates. Whatever dates were before were incorrect. So with the dates of 7/19 to 8/15, do I have an approval for the consent calendar CC1?
Motion.
I need a motion.
So moved. Director Wood.
And a second. Second, Director Wallace. Roll call vote.
President Webb. Absent. Vice President Glennon.
Yes.
Director Ben Stewart.
Yes.
Director Alfred Wallace.
Yes.
Director Greg Wood.
Yes.
4-0, 1 absent, Webb.
Consent calendar approved. I have a motion for the minutes M1 and M2.
So moved, Director Wood.
And a second? Director Wallace, second. Roll call vote.
President Webb. Absent. Vice President Byron Glennon.
Yes.
Director Ben Stewart.
Yes.
Director Alfred Wallace.
Yes.
Director Greg Wood.
Yes.
4-0, 1 absent, Webb.
New business, NB1. Authorize the staff to begin negotiations with Fisher Compliance, LLC, complete a comprehensive sewer system management plan, SSMP, services. Steve's going to explain it to us, and then we'll need to take action.
What we say, we want to enter into discussions with the company for this process, and there's 5 tasks that they're going to that they will provide for us, and then 5 optional. What we want to do is meet with the committees and the tasks, discuss the. But they're such as this. Task 1 is to prepare and execute a kickoff conference and document review. Task 2 is to prepare and execute pre-inspection video conference. Task 3 prepare, conduct on-site compliance evaluation inspection. Task 4, post-inspection conference, additional document review, draft, gap analysis report, including specific best practice recommendations. Task 5, finalize the SSMP audit gap analysis report. Those are the 5 tasks that they have presented initially. And so we want to discuss those, and then any of these additional tasks will be optional, and they are the SSMP compliance upgrade report. Task 7, review and make recommendations to further enhance district compliance with SSO field data, collection forms, and SSMP implementation 140058 executive. Optional task 8 is the documentation and the training upgrade, which includes the on-site training full day for collection staff to further enhance the district compliance. SSO event start time, volume estimates, and SSMP implementation. Optional task 9 will be on-site training with SSMP overflow emergency response plan and SSMP implementations. And last option is the update and upgrade. The update existing district SSMP incorporating SSMP audit gap analysis and findings and best practice recommendations. Now, all of their proposed costs for these tasks will to be discussed with the two committees and discuss what we feel is necessary to accomplish, but certainly we want to get this process started as soon as possible to make sure that we're in compliance. For the public edification, all of this has to do with our wastewater collection system to make sure that we're in compliance with all facets of state regulations.
As you can see on the agenda, the action item is just to allow them to continue negotiating meet with this company, and then they'll bring that information to the engineering committee and the water reclamation committee. If you have any questions you want to ask Steve at this time. If not, then I have a question of the recommended action. Motion by
Steve, I'm sorry to interrupt, but could the speakers please hold their phones closer so we can hear it a little more clearly?
Oh, you want me to get closer to you?
Yes, please.
I can't hardly hear anything.
The motion was by Director Wallace to approve the recommendation to continue negotiations with the company and to meet with the engineering committee and the water reclamation ad hoc committee. I need a second.
Second, Director Stewart.
I heard Stewart good and loud there, so the second is Director Stewart. Roll call vote. Oh, Greg, did you want to say something? Greg, did you want to add something?
No.
Oh, okay. Roll call vote.
We need Steve to hold the phone closer. We cannot hear Steve.
Yeah. I'm sorry. President Webb? Absent. Vice President Glennon? Yes. Vice President Director Ben Stewart? Yes. Director Alfred Wallace? Yes. Director Greg Wood?
Yes.
5-0. 1 absent. Webb. NB1 is approved. Moving on to the presentations. PR1 Water Reclamation Plan Update Project by Ryan Becker. I don't know if he's on the line or not.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you doing, Ryan?
Good. I hope you all are doing well also. The water reclamation plant, I apologize I wasn't able to be there in person tonight. The water reclamation facility is doing well. We are moving forward. I'm happy to say that since the last time I talked to you, our MLSS, or thickness of the organisms, if you will, has moved from about a 3 to 400 to about an 800. So we have doubled. We are growing the organisms. We did run some effluent samples about 2 weeks ago, and we are meeting all of the effluent limitations except for one, which we are aware of, and that is the total nitrogen. However, none of the water is being released into the percolation basins. It is all being operated by 2 of the district's pumps and a third pump that was brought in as a rental, and it is being discharged to the old evaporation clay line ponds. And besides that, the plant is moving forward, and it's doing well. We are progressing. On the construction side, we are still. We fired up some of the recirculative pumps. We found some leaks. Those things are being fixed. SCADA issues are being worked on as they arrive and come to the surface. Arzen was out today to inspect the blowers since they've been running for 3 weeks or so. That went well. And everything is moving along as expected.
Sounds good. It sounds like our bugs are coming right along good.
They're coming along. We're hoping by the end of the week we'll be at 1,000. Our end goal is 3,500 to 4,000, so we are still a ways off. However, we still have plenty of time that has been afforded to us by the Houghton board, and we're moving in the right direction and in a positive direction.
Any directors have any questions for Ryan?
No, I'm good. Good presentation. Yeah, I wanted to keep it short and sweet. From being on the call, I was aware that a lot of you are out and busy doing other things, so I just wanted to keep it short and simple.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
PR2, Water Conservation Committee, report of California drought measures, and back over to Steve.
This is going to be a real short one. I forgot my reports at the office, and I can't make that report. Basically, I will say this, that between Director Wood and myself, we've drafted a letter that will go to the governor in regard to the drought measures, and it's going to point out the work that the RCSD has done thus far, or not the RCSD, but the community of Rosamond, I should say, what they have done to be responsive to the drought mandates, and to this point, we have exceeded 40% in our cutbacks and our conservation in the community, and it had reached above 40% at one time, and not only that, but it will point out the fact and what the district is doing to further enhance water and the beneficial use to the basin, and that is the water reclamation plan in our community. That has been a subject of discussion, in fact, at the CSDA, the California State Association of Special Districts. We did a presentation today that highlighted our work in building the water reclamation plan and what it meant to the basin, as far as how we are trying to work to heal the basin and conserve water at the same time. And basically, we'll point out the fact that another 15% reduction from our community is, we understand why, and we feel that everybody should participate in cutting back in this drought season, but we have gone far enough and above and beyond what many areas have done, and we think it's a little bit too much for our community. So we'll point that out in this letter, and I will have that letter for the next meeting to read to the board and for the media's edification. That's the end of my report. Any questions you have for Steve? All right, moving on. Director's report. Did I hear someone?
Nope.
Okay. Director's report. DR1 Willow Rock project concerns. Director Wood.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
I don't know about everyone, but we can.
Okay, great. I attended on August 11th, I had the pleasure of virtually attending the informational meeting put on by the California Energy Commission on August 11th, 2022, in regards to the proposed Willow Rock Energy Storage Center to be located at 8684 Sweetser Road and Hamilton Road. The proposed project will produce electricity using water, compressed air, and heat, which will charge 500 megawatts for up to 14 hours and deliver up to 4,000 megawatt hours over an 8 hours to the grid. The plant itself will have a large footprint with a large above-ground reservoir able to hold 550 acre-feet of water and an underground cavern to store collective compressed air, and the storage will be 2,000 foot deep and approximately 4 football fields square. It is a fascinating design and concept, but the more I listened to the presentation, a lot of questions started to come to me, and as the presentation continued, the concerns I had in my mind were not being answered. During the meeting, I intended to ask my questions and to hopefully get clarification, but it soon became apparent that the 3-minute public comment allotment would not be enough time to discuss my concerns. So I felt it would be best to bring my concerns to the entire board and staff and determine how we want to address these issues. I have listed here in detail the area of concerns in regards to this proposed project. Number one, the first concern is the amount of water the project designers say they will need. And that need is 450 to 500 acre-feet of water to operate the facility. They said that they will purchase the initial 550 acre-feet of startup water and will need an annual makeup of 20 to 60 acre-feet a year. The presentation stated that they will make their own water by pulling the humidity out of the air, producing condensation. And they went on to say the more humidity, the more condensation. The concerns I had with this part of the presentation is that a large lagoon reservoir like the one they're proposing will have at least a 10% evaporation rate, which calculates to a minimum loss of 45 to 55 acre-feet per year. Now, I'm sure, as with all project concepts, the numbers presented were optimal numbers. With that said, Rosamond is not known for its high humidity, and there wasn't any comment addressing the what-ifs if there is not enough atmospheric humidity to produce the required water necessary for optimal operating conditions. So if they are not able to produce enough water for optimal operations, where will they get the water to make up the potential shortfall? This project will require the construction of a very large 2,000-foot deep storage cavern. This part of the project is what concerns me the most, and during their presentation, they did acknowledge that they are aware we are in an adjudicated basin. There are many concerns in this part of the project that really need to be answered. One, we do live in an adjudicated basin. Determine the flow of water into the basin, and the main flow into the basin is from the Tehachapis along the gradient that flows very close to the proposed project site. They claim that the cavern will be watertight. We need to see proof of that because I do not believe they can dig a big hole that big and that deep and not hit the water. Our main wells, number 8 and number 9, are slightly southeast of the proposed site. And what will happen to the production of our wells if this huge cavern intercepts the natural flow of water from into the basin? And for that matter, what will happen to the Antelope Valley Basin if a major flow of water is intercepted? Let's look at another scenario. Let's say the cavern does turn out to be watertight, but because water flows all through that area, then the potential is there for this huge cavern to change the pattern and divert the flow of water in another direction, which would be just as devastating to the community of Rosamond and the Antelope Valley Basin as well. While it is possible that none of these things will happen, nevertheless, they need to be addressed. And as I stated, I did not hear any specific comments that would address these concerns. And because of the potential of a serious catastrophic outcome for the community of Rosamond and the Antelope Valley Basin at large, there should be facts and documentations to alleviate these concerns. I feel it would be beneficial for the Rosamond Community Service District to possibly submit a petition to intervene to ensure our concerns are addressed. The time window is closing fast, and in the not-so-distant future, the California Energy Commission will be making their decision on giving full approval to this project. I will submit this report to the board and for your discussion and direction, and I'd like to submit this report to staff for discussion as well to see which direction that we need to take on this project, if any direction at all. And that is the conclusion of my report.
I think it would be very good for us to recommend this to a specific committee to kind of take action, like you're saying, in the very short future. What committee would make sense to refer this to?
Probably going to be the Public Relations Government Committee.
Public Relations Government Committee, does that sound? Yeah. I have heard comments that are negative about it, saying, well, where are they going to get the water? That's what I've heard in the community. The water master surely should get a presentation by them, I would think. And we might want to give the water master heads up, not only waiting for them to bring a presentation to the water master, but the water master actually requesting a presentation.
Byron, I agree with you on that. I think at the very least, I think that a copy of this letter should be sent to Lorelei, Kern County Planning, and to the water master with our concerns on it. Because like you said, Kern County had a lot of concerns as well. And the one troubling thing when you read this project, they are not requiring an EIR on this. And so there wasn't any of the that's why I waited through this whole meeting hoping to hear them, talk about, maybe water flows or this or that or any of this stuff. And it wasn't breached. I don't know if they've actually done studies on this or not. But it wasn't in the presentation, and that was enough to concern me that, we need to make sure that our voice is heard and our concerns are addressed before they actually, go full force on this project.
Well, we'll set a meeting with Public Relations and Governance as soon as possible. And are you on that committee, Greg?
No, I'm not. I think I'm an alternate on there, but I'm not a primary.
Well, if you're an alternate, we'll make sure that whoever the other two are, I think I'm one of them, can be absent so you can be there. Okay, but we'll schedule that as soon as possible.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Any other director's comments in relationship to PR2? I mean, in relationship to director's comments, Greg, on the Willow Springs project concerns. Any other comments from directors that you want to make at this particular time? I will make this comment. Steve referred to it, but Greg, you would be very proud of Steve, the presentation he made. Al and I sat in on it just to make sure he didn't stutter. And a significant number of questions asked, focused clearly on what we were doing, and more than one person brought up, it looks like you're on the cutting edge of what's happening with water reclamation, and I believe we are. But Rosamond was well represented by the general manager at the meeting at the CSDA. All right. The general counsel, John Kumar.
Right. Nothing tonight, folks.
All right. And Steve, general manager update.
No report.
And John, are you out there?
I am. Good evening.
Hello, John. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
How's
just a little. Everything's good. Just a little information. We had a surprise visit by California Osha today, right at lunchtime.
I heard about that.
Yeah, we had an inspector come in. They're doing an investigation on one of our employees that had heat stroke or heat illness last week. And because he went to the hospital automatically calls Cal Osha because it's a work-related heat illness. And Cal Osha is really strong on companies against heat illness. So the inspector came into our facility. He asked for all of our documentation on all the safety training. He took pictures of our building inside the shop. Just did a complete walkthrough of everything. And the only thing that I could not provide to him was a Form 300 because I have never used that form before. But he said we may be exempt from that form. He was going to let me know. But I have to email him all the copies of the safety training that I showed him today. And when he left the office, he said everything looks good. So in the 23 years I've worked here, Cal Osha has never showed up, but they did today.
It was because the hospital notified them, huh?
Yeah, he said they only show up on a site if there's an injury or a death, or somebody calls them on a complaint. And he said number one priority with OSHA in California is heat prevention illnesses.
Uh-huh.
So if the hospital calls them and said that they had a patient come in that was working on the job when he had this problem, they notify OSHA, and OSHA automatically investigates it. So the good thing is all that training that we do and all the documentation that we have finally came to a head today, and we had to show it.
Paid off, didn't it? Yeah.
It did.
You know, that's like having the fire inspector come and checking stuff out, and you've got the wrong kind of stuff in the closet and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, thank you, John, and I appreciate you not just meeting with them today, but all of the work like you say you've done in the past to keep the records. And I guess we need to find out what a Form 300 is, huh?
I looked it up. I know what it is now, but we don't fill one out. It may be something that SDRMA keeps track of. It's basically how many workman comp claims you have. And I know we haven't had very many. but I will get that information from SDRMA and then send it to them.
I'm with you, John. I haven't been presented the need for a Form 300 in regard to OSHA, but it does log any work-related illness or injuries such as this. And I do believe you might be right that it might be SDRMA's logging of that on our behalf, and that's probably the exemption he was talking about. I believe that's the case.
Yeah. Well, I'll check with SDRMA and be sure, but if that's the case, even if we don't have one, he indicated that we were still okay. Just because we had all the documentation, and we actually had a meeting, a tailgate meeting 2 weeks ago on Heath, and we had the documentation, everybody signed it, and even Doggo, the person that was ill, had signed it, so he got all that.
Yeah. All right, sounds good, John. Anything else?
That's it for tonight.
Hey, Violet. Hey, John, you still there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, have we had any more problems with the thefts out there, the copper, any of the wire being stolen?
With the what? I'm sorry.
The wire, the problem we had with the copper stuff. Any follow-up on that?
Yeah, no, like I said, AVAC was hit also, but they never caught anybody who was doing it. There was just a report filed, and that's it. There was no, they haven't caught anybody so far.
Thanks, Sean.
All right. Any other concerns before we adjourn? All right. I hear a motion to adjourn. Director Wallace made the motion, and I'll accept Director Woods as a second.
Yes.
Roll call vote.
President West?
Yes.
Vice President Glennon?
Yes.
Director Stewart?
Yes.
Director Wallace?
Yes.
Director Wood?
Yes.
5-0, 6:33.
Meeting adjourned at 6:33. Have a good evening, everyone.